Hello everyone, this is Gemma. Welcome if you've just arrived, but if you've already been living on this planet for a while now and have watched me for the tubes, a big welcome to you as well. I'm very glad that you're here. This is one of those topics today where I think about perhaps all the things that we want to say and don't. The things that make us feel a bit awkward and clumsy and put ourselves out there. This is the stuff I want to chat with you about today because I'm finding it really exciting to be getting older and I've realized a few things. Oh, you young kids, for heaven's sakes, just tell people how much they mean to you. Recently, I went on a walk with a friend who I'm, building relationships out here with people, and there's this lovely lady who I met, and we went for a walk around the golf course here, and you're starting from scratch, right? You don't have any family, you come here on your own, and so you're building a new circle of friends, and it's really fun and interesting what choices you make with people. But this lady who I've fairly recently met, I'd say in the last 3 months, she said something to me on our walk. She said, Gemma, every time I see you, I somehow automatically have a smile on my face and I feel happy. I thought, wow, first of all, the fact that she actually said that to me, to my face, but it was such a vulnerable and kind and beautiful statement, and it really hit me, it had an impact. And I said to her, thank you, that was very kind, because I wanted to acknowledge how much her comment had affected me in a good way. Because it's not just the person who's expressing how they feel and appreciating somebody else who feels good. It's also the receiver who feels good as well. And so it has a double effect. And it made me think, am I saying enough? Am I appreciating people enough and letting them know that I love them, that I'm thinking of them, that I care about them? Am I appreciating them and not just what they do? Although what people do is amazing and there is so much room to appreciate that as well. But I am realizing how important it is to not busy yourself into regret. As in, don't become so busy in your life that you regret not making the time to tell someone how much you appreciate them. Over the years, I've worked on many film sets in Australia and overseas, and worked in a lot of scenes with lots of different people. And some of those people are no longer here with us. Often a family member of the person who's now died will take over their Facebook page and leave a message, and sometimes you don't even know that somebody's passed until you look at the social media and somebody's family member has mentioned their passing. And it made me think of how special and how amazing it is to be able to tell somebody in person the impact they've had on your life. And also, this is the challenge, getting over your own ego if there has been some disruption to your friendship continuing.
It is sad, Frodo, how old alliances can be broken, how friendships between peoples can be lost. And for what?
And the fun part is I'm getting less and less embarrassed about myself and my own awkwardness, because to me it is more painful to miss the opportunity to tell somebody how much I care about them, to tell somebody how much I've admired them, how much I respect them, how much I've appreciated them over the years. It's less painful to be awkward about saying those things, whether you feel dorky. So one of the things I would encourage everyone to do, and I'm encouraging myself to continue to do, is to keep letting people know in the moments that that feeling arises. Let people know, because you don't really realize how much of an impact you make. Sometimes you feel like even at this point in my life right now where I think, gosh, I haven't done anything with my life. What have I done? And you realize the ridiculousness of our own statements, because we have way more impact and we've done so much more, and we have such a different perspective than anyone else on this planet. We have so much to give that it might just take somebody reminding us of how important and how valued that they are to get us out of that mental state of thinking that, what's the point? The second really fun, powerful thing I've learned getting older is to be quick at owning up to your mistakes. Oh gosh, this is part of the unlearning to relearn phase of my life, especially since I'm out here in Saudi Arabia. I have a lot of space and peace and a reset of my nervous system to be able to reflect on my choices and also get to choose what kind of a person I want to be. And so one of these is taking accountability for mistakes I've made, owning up to them as quickly as possible, and taking charge of the consequences of those mistakes. And taking ownership of your mistakes is one of the most freeing things. It's not fun, because often it's just our idealized image we have of ourselves in our head. It's the ego that takes a hit when you literally just own up to it. You're like, yeah, that was me, my bad, yeah, I messed up there. As soon as you just admit it, you stop denying that you've messed up, that you stop hiding. There's so much energy goes into trying to maintain an image of perfection, and it's just not realistic because no human being is perfect, or whatever you want to label as being the idea of perfection. There's a whole weight that comes off the more you practice owning up to your mistakes as soon as possible. The better you get at it, the more free you feel, the lighter you feel. We can often feel ashamed, or there's shame around making mistakes. And I realize that's just all conditioning. School is classic at this. If you're not an A+ student, you're somehow not good enough. It's created this, if you fail or you do less than this ideal, then somehow you are a failure. And we receive this messaging that making mistakes is bad. That's why a lot of kids, we don't put our hands up in case we say the wrong answer and then we look like an absolute idiot and made people laugh, and all of these thoughts in our head as to the consequences of making mistakes, which is reinforced by family, by society, by school, by industries. And learning to undo that programming, well, let me know if you've reached that point, because that would be great. I'll be celebrating for you. But it's a day-by-day thing. And part of some of the shame about making mistakes is that we can resort to things like blaming others when things don't go right, hiding the fact that we've made a mistake, but it inevitably blows up later on, and then it's just a bigger thing to deal with. It's also a great clearing tool because the right people will respect and appreciate you for being honest. Don't you want to be in an environment where you don't feel bad for owning up to things that, whoops, you're around the right people when you feel good about being honest? And if you're living a life or you're with people or in an environment where you can't be honest, then it might be a great question to start asking yourself whether you're in the right circle. Giving up on fitting other people's expectations. Oh, this is some of the work of Gabor Mate comes to mind here, where he talks about authenticity versus acceptance. There's the concept that when you're little, when you're a child, you have to fit in order to survive. So it means you might have to be very vigilant, very observant. Learn very quickly as to what is acceptable and what is not acceptable in order for you to be shown love or to have your needs met. And so that might mean that you're not being truly authentic because you can't quite be yourself, because you need to get the approval and acceptance of your family or that head of authority at the school, what have you, and that can translate into the work environment and into your relationships. Fitting in order to get acceptance is a great tool for survival. It works well in certain circumstances, but it can become like a dysfunction later on. We sacrifice who we are to be accepted. I have certainly had situations where I was walking on eggshells. I couldn't say things, I couldn't do things. There were so many limitations on just being who I am that I realized I was actually living somebody else's life. Worrying about disappointing others constantly is not living. These wonderful, deeper questions come to mind, such as, do you accept yourself? Will you treat yourself as though you're your best friend? Will you have the courage to walk away from people or situations, maybe the situations and people that you're comfortable with or that's familiar to you? You'll have to leave that behind in order to go out and seek and discover a new version of ourselves that is actually really us. You get to choose, well, who do I want to be? And that's the next chapter, and that's the fun, and that's where all the joy and all the unknown and uncertain stuff comes up, because you've got a whole buffet in front of you. But you can't expose yourself to the buffet of choices if you're constantly living in an old story that's constantly being played in your life that you don't move away from. For example, for years, I never talked about being a video gamer. I've gamed for over 20 years. Hang on, when did I start? When was the first video game I started? Oh my goodness. It's probably Pixels. But for many years, I didn't talk about being a video gamer because that was one of the quickest ways to having no friends. Times have changed now, thank goodness, but I have reached a point now where I just don't care if somebody doesn't like me playing video games. I like voicing characters, and even when I'm playing a game where there is no dialogue, I'll just just be voicing as the character as I'm playing the game because it's fun. I like talking to myself and creating a new story. I laugh at the jokes I make. It's one of the beautiful things about getting older is you worry less about what other people think, because most of the time people aren't thinking about you. They're thinking about their own problems, their own challenges, and their own awkwardness, like we're all doing. So I'm looking to also challenge myself to actually get out in the evening, get out of the house in the evening, but on my own terms. Of course, it has to be for a reason that motivates me to get outside the house at night, apart from standing in the car park at night staring at the moon. Literally do that. I don't care if I look like a weirdo. What's somebody gonna do? Say, hey, weirdo, what are you doing? Like, nobody cares, they're just gonna drive past. And then 2 seconds later, they're going to forget you and go on with getting their hot fudge sundae. I'm gonna be doing something really weird and unusual, and that's called Gemma's going out at nighttime. Actually, there's a real reason for this. I'm so super excited. Going to a place called Ithra. Video game, music. Look at that itinerary. Look at those games. Oh my goodness. Let's go and discover something new about this place. I'm actually excited. I usually do nana hours, so this will really test my mettle. The temperature right here. It is 31 degrees Celsius at 6 o'clock at night. And this is springtime. I don't remember what season I'm in.